Welcome footy fans, and here we are, second week in a row. Carlton have had a loss. The surprise defeat against St Kilda was a surprise. The loss to Adelaide wasn't a surprise. Footyhead actually backed Adelaide to the extent that I actually put money on Adelaide because they were at $3 to win in a two-horse race. They just knocked off the reigning Premier Geelong, and they're coming up against Carlton, which had just dropped the game ahead to back Adelaide. And I have no qualms with that at all because it's simply this. Football teams today can't just keep winning again and again and again and again. Carlton are not like the Brisbane team who had the three-peat in premierships or as powerful or as dominant as Geelong had been previously. Carlton is playing in a season where there is very little difference between the teams. There is no major standout. I can assure you that of the teams that have got wins and only got one loss at the moment, they will have 2 or 3 losses for the season. At the moment, all the doom and gloom that's being thrown out by the so-called true supporters, just sit back and take a chill pill. Our players are starting to feel the effects of a hard season, and it's going to get harder as the games go on because their bodies are continuously being subjected to the impact and the speed and the conflict that is played on a game of Australian rules football. It's not a game of tiddlywinks, it's a contact sport. And it may be very easy to sit back there being a Super League coach and moving all the players and getting all the points players and getting a good score for your imaginary football team each year, but that doesn't make you a real football coach in the AFL. They have to maintain and manage a team to get them over the line every week. That's why they rest players, not because of arrogance, because they have to give their bodies a physical rest from the game of football. Adelaide have been showing promise for seasons, and it was always coming back on the previous coach, Neil Craig. Okay, got a new coach, and suddenly there they are, up there winning games, showing the promise that's been predicted all along by their supporters and their observers of the team. Essendon, who at the start of the season would have thought they would be sitting at the top of the table? Come on, tell the truth, because we all have this idea of how each team's going to perform. Over the past 3 or 4 seasons we've got an idea of it. There would have been a few individuals who said it's Essendon's turn, same as I think it's Carlton's turn because I'm a Carlton fan and I can see the development in the team. But I know we're not well beaten. This week Port Adelaide got up for a win against North Melbourne, and I tipped that one as well. I knew it was going to be bloody close, but it was hard to tip Port. But everyone's knocking them and saying they're not good enough. They're putting the words on the coach. Melbourne have got a new coach and mostly the same players. And I noticed in the commentary of the game that the commentators were actually saying the coach is giving the team directions on how to play, but they aren't following them. So perhaps their issue is on the field. It is about accountability, and the coach always cops it. If the team loses, it's all his fault. There'll be those saying Ratton's not a good enough coach. Yes, he is. And he's got the true Blues spirit because he's an original Blues player and he knows about the nature of the club. And as he said in his match reports, Carlton are playing like a team of individuals. It's not about the players saying, oh sorry, we lost. Not acceptable. Nor is it acceptable to blame the coach. What is acceptable though is to face up to the fact that we weren't good enough. We came up against a team that we're going to meet in the finals and they've now got the wood on us. But we have to power along because we've now come up and started to find our limits. This is still a learning season because we're still finding out who we're going to be playing against. We're still only 2 wins away from top place. 20 points, 24 points will have us in the top 4. 1 win away from being in the top 4, which is the goal for the end of the season. Port Adelaide getting their win against North Melbourne was on the cards. Melbourne, I can't see them getting a win. Unfortunately, I think they're really going to struggle all season because their issues are more deep-seated than just the way they're playing football. Collingwood got up over Geelong. Next week, Adelaide play Collingwood. If Adelaide get a flogging by Collingwood, we were going to be saying, oh, Adelaide were just a flash in the pan, we were just out of luck. Collingwood are a far better team, they're going to be premiership team. We beat Collingwood. Don't put all of the attention on how one particular week goes. Yeah, it is 1 week at a time, but it's not about suddenly turning on your team and your coach and saying, they're not good enough, this should happen, this, no. It's about being rational and realistic. End of the season, that's where it matters, being there in the top 4. At this stage, we're not going to make the top 4. But it's still early enough in the season to turn that around. The coach and the players will be working on that all this week and all next week. And we've got Melbourne this week. This is a chance for us to get our team plan back in action. Get back to that game we were playing when we beat Collingwood, where we had the structure, we had the ability, and we had a bit of individual flair. Let's stop being the individual flair, which seems to be the problem that Ratton's identified. The players are starting to play like individuals. Maybe they wanted to have Mark of the Year. Maybe they wanted to have Goal of the Year. Maybe they want a star. There's nothing wrong with being a star, but it's better to be playing in a team of stars. Go you Blues!
It's the Australian